Coming up this week on Kiss My Collectibles, we talk with Kollector Mike Stone. Stay up to date with the show and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Become a member of our brand new Patreon and receive exclusive updates and benefits.
This is Kiss My Collectibles podcast, but you knew that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Kiss My Collectibles. I am one of your co-hosts, Jason Herndon, and with me, as always, is...
Andrew Scambatti. Good to be here.
Joe Lalich.
Joe Lalich? That's your last name?
That is my last name. We got it right this week because I said it.
I was actually thinking about that before we started, and I was like, I'm not going to make a crack on Joe's last name this week.
And yet, here we are again.
And here we are.
But you did it this time, so it wasn't me.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the show, everyone. Thanks for joining us again. We're going to do another Kiss Collector Spotlight this week. We've got Mike Stone with us, who's been a pillar in the Kiss My Wax community for a long, long time. We were just talking about his massive attention to detail, and he's got a massive U.S. vinyl collection, and so we're going to talk about vinyl a bunch today for sure. But before we
get into that, let's make sure that you like and subscribe our page. Click that bell icon if you want to stay up to date when we post new episodes. But don't forget, if you want to look as cool as Jason, you can go to clicktshop.com to purchase one of our Kiss My Collectibles or Kiss My Wax t-shirt. But it doesn't end there. Make sure you go to kissmycollectibles.com/Patreon and become an unofficial member of our show and get cool updates and exclusive things and maybe some cool stuff on the show. So, yeah, that's my plug for the show, and I'll be over here, guys. I'll see you later.
Yeah, good. Get out. So, no, make sure you say Click T-Shop.
I did.
Is with a K? You said that?
Click with a K. I think
Click
everybody knows. Click with a K.
I'm just making
Collectibles
sure.
with a K. I think everybody knows.
All right, so before we get into talking to Mike about all of his glorious vinyl, we're going to wrap up Indy a little bit. All three of us were in Indy this past weekend.
Did you go to Indy, Mike, this year?
I didn't go this year. I went last year.
Okay.
Right, yeah. So we're just going to chat a little bit about who we saw, what we did, and show a couple of things that we got, and then we'll get into talking to Mike. So what'd you think about Indy, gentlemen?
Joe?
I thought it was good. I think especially seeing everybody that you kind of interact with online. I got to meet Julian Gill for the first time, which was good. Mm-hmm. So, and he sat right next to our table. So it was good. It was good to see faces and, of the people, of the names that we see out on the group all the time. So, yeah, it was fun. I did not enjoy seeing Andrew and Jason in person at all.
Don't blame you.
But, yeah, everybody else at the show was good to see. So
yeah, it was definitely a different animal from the year before. The year previous, they had Ace there, so obviously the attendance was way up. Oh, yeah, not that the attendance was super low or anything, but it was way up, unusually high with Ace. So it was kind of a different animal. This time we got to spend a lot more time meeting people, chatting with people, and because last year it was just go, get in a line, get your autograph, that sort of thing. This year we got to spend a lot of time talking to people and mingling amongst the crowd and all of that stuff. So that was very fun. So, Andrew.
Hey.
What do you got to say? Hey.
I'm just going to echo all those sentiments, but I do want to show a couple things that I got in Indy. We were next to Julian Gill's table, so I did pick up one of Gill's Kiss On Tour books, the End of the Road Tour Volume 1. So this is the first leg of the End of the Road Tour book. Anybody who visits kissfaq.com, you'll basically see all this stuff on the website. It's very, very cool. Set lists, reviews, things about the show. It's very, very cool. So I love all of Julian's books. I love them so much that I finally purchased a physical copy of Gene, Ace, Peter, and Paul, the solo album book. I've had this since it came out, but I did have the ebook copy. It was on my iPad.
Is that the hardcover book?
Of course it's the hardcover
book. I think it's the only one he had there.
Of hardcover?
I think it was the
no. He had some elder hardcovers and some crazy. No.
I mean, I think that was the only solo album hardcover that he had.
Yes.
Because the rest of them were soft covers.
Correct, because he brought this for me because I told him I wanted one.
Oh, cool.
And then from Click T-Shop with a K, I got this really cool Gene Simmons 1974 skull design hat. I don't really wear hats, but this was too cool to pass up, so maybe I will wear this.
Yeah, that's another thing. We got to meet Ed from Click T-Shop.
Yes.
who helped us set up our t-shirt purchasing abilities for now. And Ed's a super nice guy, and he's got some super cool designs in his shop, and it's all Kiss related stuff, but nothing that's copyrighted, so it's really cool. So go check him out.
Check him out too. But the last thing I want to show, and I'm just going to talk about this real quick. This really cool poster from Peter Arquette. I don't know where the photo was taken. I don't know anything about it. I just thought it was really cool, and it was really cheap. So I had to get it. And it looks
nice.
It looks really, really cool. So that was the buy of the weekend, my opinion.
Yeah, that's very nice.
I'm always a sucker for that black and white photography.
Especially on the Destroyer tour. So I really I dug that.
Yeah.
So as soon as I saw it, I was like, I got to get it.
Yeah, so I got a few things while I was there, but the most important, I was gifted a couple of things, and I tried to refuse them, but they refused to let me refuse. So,
that made no sense, but
nope.
All right, we'll go with it.
Anyway, both of these gentlemen are in all of our groups, and they participate a lot, and they're super nice gentlemen, and I was very, very happy to meet them. I've met them before. But, this time I got to spend a lot more time with them and talking to them and stuff. So Tony Chambers had heard us in our discussions about the first album he had heard me say that I didn't have a Camel version of the first album. And so he brought this to the show, to the indie show, and he gifted this to me.
Very cool.
So, Tony, thank you, buddy. I really appreciate it. It'll go nicely.
It'll go nicely on the floor with the other stacks of your vinyl.
That's where I picked it up before I got in here. So, and then Corey Nolan, who was helping Julian out for the weekend, so he was right beside us the whole time. So we got to have lots and lots of laughs with Corey. Had brought this, and we had a discussion about it, and he gifted this to me as well. This is a copy of Ace's solo single. It has a Camel label on one side. Come on, focus. There we go. It has a Camel label on one side, and it has a Filmworks label on the other.
Nice.
So he gifted that to me, and I was just like, no, man, you can't give that to me. He's like, dude, I paid $6 for it, and you just please take it. So Corey, I really appreciate it, man. You guys are class acts, man, all the way. So I did pick up a couple of other very, very nice promotional items from Peter Arquette. One of them's too big. I'm not going to hold it up, but it's a Live 2 wall board, and it's very, very tall, promotional. It hung up in the store.
It almost looks like the Alive 2 bus advertisement. I know it's not that one, but it resembles it quite a bit.
Well, right, all of those kind of advertisements. And one guy even asked me, when I posted it in Collectibles, he said, what is that? Is that the uncut mobile? Well, it has all the components of the mobile, but no, it's a big wall board that folds, and you just stick it up on the wall. You wonder
if it is, though. You wonder if they made the mobile from that.
I doubt it.
Lay it next to each other. See if it's the same size.
Well, it'd take up this whole floor in this room. I mean, if it was clean, it would take it up. So, but this one I can show. I also got this from Peter. It is also a promotional item. It's the double platinum arrow in really, really great shape.
It is too.
And it says brand new Strutters 78 plus all the great Kiss classics and a special 2-record set and your own platinum plaque from Kiss. So there's just a couple of double platinum promotional albums or promotional items now that I need to get. But because I have the poster and I have the logo.
I want to get the poster.
And I've got that. I think there's a round thing that may be Australian. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure somebody will correct me. But
you'll be able to see all that stuff in this great book coming out called The Hottest Brand in the Land by our esteemed co-host Nicholas Buckland. So be on the lookout for the pre-orders of that very soon. Nicholas just announced that it is officially licensed by Kiss, and we'll have a forward by Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley. So keep on the lookout for that. Make sure you visit everythingkiss.com to see when that's going to be put up, and make sure you check out our pages that are sponsored by everythingkiss.com.
Okay. Not to correct you, but promotional items are not in the book. It's only purchasable items in the book.
I thought I saw something in there.
Nope.
No.
I'm
sorry.
Who knows? Maybe it's a part 2 one day. But the promotional items won't be in there. It'll just be the coin era stuff that you could obtain.
I was just looking to pimp Nicholas's book.
I understand, and you did a great job, my friend. So, Joe, you didn't get anything from Indy, did you?
Headache.
I did, but the things I want to show kind of pertain to our earlier shows that we did on magazines and books. But I just real quickly wanted to shout out a couple of people who came over to the table as well. Longtime viewer Eric, he and his wife came by. They were very cool to hang out and talk with, just even for a minute. To hear that people watch the show and that they're excited about it is always fun, and he had a lot of enthusiasm. So thank you, Eric, for coming by. And then also Dave Scott, really cool guy. Got to meet him. I know you guys got to hang out with him a little bit more than I did because I wasn't there on Sunday, but had a great discussion with him. He seems like a great collector and a cool guy. So wanted to shout him out as well. So thanks for stopping by. So on to things that I got this week. So magazines, I got this guy, the
So cool.
Nice.
Super Teen Special, published in 1977. So I've gotten on a little bit of a kick on magazines and books because those are the things that we've talked about.
That's right.
And trying to fill some holes in the collection. So it's a real nice magazine. Got some color images on the inside of each of the guys. So really nice, something to add to the collection, and something that was spurred on by our magazine discussion of the essential 5 magazines you should have in your collection. Then also, as far as books go, we talked about this one. This is Kiss by D.D. Zill. So 390 pages. There was a commenter on our YouTube page who gave us a great rundown of this book. But man, it's fantastic. And Andrew had asked before the show when we were chatting about it, what can you most liken it to? And I'd say it's closest to the Lynn Goldsmith book, because it's just packed with photos. So that gives you an idea of the quality of photos, and it goes all the way through Lick It Up. And I think this guy was a photographer for a magazine, maybe in Germany, if I remember correctly from the YouTube commenter. And actually, it goes even further than that. It goes up through Hot in the Shade. So it's a great book. Super thick, big art style book. So happy to have it in the collection now. It's been sort of elusive, and it's an expensive book.
It is.
People usually ask a lot of money for that, and I was able to get it for a little less money than maybe what they typically ask for, but it's not inexpensive. So glad to have that one on the bookshelf now.
It's on my list for sure. It's definitely one that I always search for. I have a search set up for it,
There's
in
one
my
on
eBay
right
searches.
now.
Yeah, I know. But as Joe said, they're expensive, and I would like to try to get a deal on them if possible, any kind of deal. But it definitely runs north of $300 most of the time, so it's expensive. So, But anyway, all right, is that it, gentlemen? Indie wrap up, good.
Yeah. Indie was fun, and we'll see you.
Indie was fun.
Thank you, Frankie. We'll see you on New Year's Eve.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so let's move into Mike Stone. Mike, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. So what we generally start with is just to have the guest go over how you got into Kiss and how you got into Kiss collecting. So tell us that story, if you would, sir.
Well, I've always kind of known about Kiss growing up, just the weird guys with makeup. But I was watching I believe it was the Grammys when Tupac came out with them, right?
That is correct, yes.
And, they had come out, and I was just, oh, wow, they got the makeup back on, and I didn't really think much of it, And I picked up a copy of Double Platinum on CD just because it had, like, the songs I knew, which I think at the time might have been Detroit and Rock and Roll All Night. And just listening to the rest of the CD, I kind of got to where I liked it a lot and started getting some of the other CDs, and had a chance to catch them on the reunion tour in '96 there in St. Louis. Went ahead and just got blown away by their show in '96. Caught them again in '97, St. Louis again. I was just hooked after that. It wasn't really a collector per se after that, but I want to say I was in Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri, and there was an old record store there on one of the dams there, and they had all 4 solo albums, and thought it was kind of neat, and I went ahead and bought them. got home and I noticed that Peter and Paul had a poster in them. Ace and Gene didn't have anything. And
no, this is how it starts.
That's how it starts. You're like,
the fuse has been lit.
Wait a second.
Why is this one different than the rest? Yeah.
And I tried this newfangled thing at the time called the internet, and I
it's
believe
on computers now, I hear.
Yeah. We're talking 96, 97, so I was probably going to Otaku maybe for information about this.
Yeah.
And it brought up all the albums and everything that came with them, and I was just like, well, boy, I've got to try to find all this stuff. That all looks pretty neat. And slowly but surely, eBay wasn't here yet, so I was finding stuff out in the wild, and I might find a tattoo sheet for an Alive 2 in a flea market somewhere, and then a copy of the originals with 50 million inserts that don't belong with it in another place, and figure out how it all goes together. And the bug bit me then.
Yeah. So Mike, how old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 38. I turned 38 in February.
Okay, so you're kind of in between the ages of me and the other two guys. I find it very interesting that you got into the band in 96. I mean, I was aware of the band before 96, but my super fandom started when I saw that Entertainment Weekly and Faces in 96. But I was 11 years old around that time. So it's really interesting that you got the bug bit you in 96 from a CD. And because I know we have a bunch of collectors out there, do you know if it was 96, it was probably the non-remastered CD. It was probably just the regular jewel case with the... It almost looks like a photocopy of the cover.
Right.
Looks like the Filmworks 3 copy.
Yeah. The 85 is all that stuff, yeah.
That's super interesting because you don't find a lot of people who got into Kiss in 96 that are uber vinyl collectors like yourself.
I think what really got me into them, I had started playing guitar when I was about 9, and by then I had a pretty decent rhythm hand. Never really tried leads too much, and I think I don't want to sound like I'm downplaying Ace or anything, but his leads were kind of basic enough for somebody like me to try to take on at the time.
Well, it's all pentatonic stuff, as far as guitar lingo goes. So it's it's easier to pick up because you're just playing in that little pentatonic box,
Right.
So,
and I think that's what kept me going with Kiss, and that of course I love the music to death, all the way through. But I want to say it really connected with guitar playing just because I could actually tackle some of Ace's leads, and then I got into some harder stuff later on.
Right. So as far as collecting goes, so you started getting that collector bug to collect the vinyl or at least Kiss vinyl at that point in time. Prior to that, were you collecting anything else of any, or did this just start with Kiss and Kiss vinyl?
It really started with Kiss.
Interesting.
Mean, I don't think I had any collections of CDs by that point. I just might have had a few of them that my lawn mowing money could supply.
Sure. Very interesting. Because it's a different course than most collectors take. So it's interesting to me, because I'm just a little bit older than you, probably 5 years. I'm 43, but I can't remember a time in my life where there wasn't Kiss stuff all around me, all the way back to 4 years old. And when I was collecting Kiss through the 80s as a very young child. When I started getting into other things like, say, video games and Nintendo, I made a point to not just have the video games, but I'd have the boxes and any posters that came with it and manuals, and I had them stacked. And, it was all part of our collecting OCD. So it's interesting that it just kind of, bam, it hit you at 96. You bought a record somewhere along the line. And you were like, I'm going to start doing this. That's a pretty interesting story to me, anyway.
Well, a couple of things to me that are interesting. Buying a record in '96 or '97.
Yes,
Sure.
Almost
yes.
good luck with that, right? Because records, as we all know, record stores were damn near extinct at that point. Or,
Right.
Vinyl stores. Yeah.
Vinyl stores, yeah,
Yeah.
vinyl-centric stores. So even to see vinyl in stores at that point was surprising. The other thing that's interesting to me too is that you stumbling across inserts that you're like, what is this? Or was there enough of an internet resource that you knew that some inserts came in alive too, and there was a poster in Dynasty, or were you just like, here's a tattoo sheet, what is this?
Well, in the beginning, like I had seen that Alive 2 came with a set of tattoos and an order form, but I don't think Otaku had any pictures up when I seen it. So I knew that stuff was in there, but I didn't know what it looked like. And just through trial and error, I'd find the copyright date somewhere on it and kind of piece it together. And then later on, once like the fact came along and even Otaku adding pictures and everything, I figured out what goes where. And
so you were kind of forensic from the start then, because I know that's one of your specialties. You get deep into the minutia of things. So that kind of was something that started pretty early on. Oh, I'm going to put this. See, like Jason said, we have a different perspective. We bought those records with the stuff in it, so we just we opened it up. And we were surprised that the stuff was in there, and that was really cool to us. But for you, you're almost trying to, as a historian, go back and go, okay, does this go with this record? Or that's very interesting.
Yeah, It happened where I bought a record that came with an insert that wasn't supposed to be there. And, it'd be like a rock and roll order form and a copy of Hotter Than Hell or something like that. And then you got to figure out, okay, does this go in Destroyer or Rock and Roll Over? And yeah.
It's interesting. It's interesting that when those albums were reprinted with different labels, like Camel labels, Filmworks labels, and even 84, 85, it's interesting that they didn't put the newer order forms in the older records. At least we don't have any proof of that, because if they were releasing new versions, so to speak, of Hotter Than Hell, why wouldn't they start pimping the T-shirts that they have to sell? So it's interesting that never happened. At least we don't have any proof of it that it never happened.
Right. And even like on Rock and Roll Over, I've got however many Filmworks 1 labels in there. I don't have any order forms with them. They all just have the sticker with them. I pretty well consider those complete, even though they don't have the Rock and Roll order form on the second issue.
Right.
So you're saying you have one order form, and then you have other albums that don't have the order form but have the sticker, is what you're saying?
Yeah, like the first issue, the Camel labels, they all have the sticker and the insert sheet with them. And then the second issue on the Filmworks label, they all have just the sticker. And in my collection, they could have came with the order form, but at this point, who really knows?
Right.
I consider them complete.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I would too. One of the first things that I bought in my collection was a Destroyer tour book. And at that point, I really hadn't started collecting vinyl yet, but inside that Destroyer tour book was the cards from the original. I guess someone just shoved them in there, and then I opened that up, and there are these cards. So I was like, oh, these go to the originals. And then I was like, well, there's other stuff that goes in the originals as well. And then that got my bug started.
Right.
Yeah. A little later on, I think I had just collected up to Creatures of the Night at that time, just one copy of each album. I don't even think I had a copy of the originals anymore, but it was about the time that Sonic Boom was coming out. I remember Kiss Online going live with the 5 different colors.
Yeah, buddy.
Did you get them?
And I did not. I was just
I
like,
did.
Me neither.
I did.
I'm kicking myself for not doing that.
I got 2 of the different copies at the time, but for some reason I didn't get all of them. I think it was just who wants to pay, what was it, $100 some dollars?
$125 for all 5,
Yeah,
and you'll be
yeah.
lucky if you can get one for $200 now.
Yeah,
Right.
I bought them. So.
and I did the exact opposite. I decided I'm not going to do this. I actually sold my Kiss records at that time.
So in 2009, you've dumped your Kiss collection, and now here you sit with one of the larger U.S. collections around. That's interesting. Yeah. So go ahead.
I got to understand this. So you just wake up one day and go, "I'm dumping my collection. I've had it. That's it." What's the catalyst for that?
Most people know that I'm a huge Iron Maiden fan, and I started collecting Maiden stuff right about the same time as Kiss. And I really needed a way to fund getting the rest of my Maiden collection. So I sold off my Kiss collection, and God, I can't tell you how many singles and picture discs and everything else from Maiden that I bought with that money. And funny story, just this past year, I've cleared out all my Maiden collection.
To buy more Kiss shit?
Buy more Kiss stuff. I had everything in my rack back here. I think I had the last section was all Iron Maiden and the rest of it was all Kiss. And I started getting like a lot of variants of Kiss. I needed room in my rack, and it was a hard decision, but I'm like, I'm sorry, Ed, but go.
I have a couple of Maiden pieces that I've been considering selling to fund Kiss stuff.
Do you have the box set from 2001, 2002? Do you have that?
I didn't do the recent box sets. I had the first 10 years box set from 1990 that had all their 12-inch singles.
I'm talking about. It looks like a cigar box, but it's like an Eddie sarcophagus.
Yeah.
The Eddie's Archives.
Do you
have
CD
that? I do have that. Yes.
If you sell that, Jason, let me know. I'll buy that.
That's one of the things I've been considering selling.
I will totally buy that from you.
Absolutely love that piece. It is such a cool item. So, but yeah, I'm a big Maiden fan too. I'm just not a huge collector of Maiden because, man, you're talking about another group that goes down a fucking rabbit hole that's unbelievably deep. It's Iron Maiden,
Just to go off on a tangent a little bit about Maiden, I started listening to Eddie Trunk in 2000 because of the Kiss thing, because at the time I only really liked Kiss, and I was just listening to Kiss, and he was talking about Maiden, and I had listened up until the point where he was talking about the new Maiden record, which would have been Rock in Rio. And I remember listening to some of the Rock in Rio tracks, and that was my first Maiden CD that I bought was Maiden Rock in Rio, and then I went back and got everything. So Eddie Trunk got me into Maiden, and I remember when that box came out, I wasn't a big enough fan to get that box, but I've always wanted it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Go ahead, Mike.
Best Buy at 5:30 in the morning the day that thing hit.
Yeah, man. Well, I was working in a record store at the time. I was managing record stores, so I just ordered, anything that I wanted. I just ordered extra copies in for me, stock one for the store and bring one in for myself, and get it at cost. So I definitely got that, and I think Maiden is one of those lucky bands that controls their catalog. And so they do reissues all the time with special stuff. And you're talking about, they're the B-side kings, man.
Oh my God.
New podcast. We're just going to watch Flight 666. That's right, the new podcast.
Man. So props to Iron Maiden, man.
Yes, huge props.
Yeah, props to Iron Maiden. But
so Mike, when you dump your collection, do you go on eBay and piece it out and get the full value for it, or do you go to a record store or a collector and just go, hey, take all of this for $100? Do you have that sob story, or do you actually get the money's worth?
When I did my Kiss collection back in 08 or 09, I just sold that all in one lot on eBay. This Maiden stuff, I did each individual piece, and
good.
I mean it's a lot of work, but I mean you do get more out of it over time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I still got a few picture discs left, but I've kind of slowed down on selling it a little bit, but I do intend to get rid of it all. I'll keep all my CDs and stuff like that.
Hold on. Do you keep talking about what's a CD? Tell me what a CD is again.
Oh my God.
I don't.
Well, Andrew.
It's like vinyl, but it's silver and smaller.
It's shiny, yeah.
So it's like a laser disc.
Nice and shiny.
It's like a laser disc.
In a way, yes. It's read by a laser.
We're seeing a pattern develop here with you, Mike. So do you anticipate a point or feel a point. Okay, all right. Yeah. The question was going to be: do you feel like you're going to dump your Kiss vinyl at any point in time? Because we'd like to have access to that whenever you do.
If something happened and I needed to come up with some hospital money or something like that,
True.
maybe. But I think this is going to be my wife's problem eventually.
Well, you know what it is? I think all of us collectively get to a point where I know me personally, where I had a huge collection growing up, but it was of like worthless Spencer stuff. So that was easy to let go. But you get to a point where you start going back and you have stuff at this point, stuff that you've always either A, wanted, or B, rebought because you use it in your childhood, that you get to a point where you don't want to resell it.
See, I think Joe is a different kind of collector. Joe, to me, at least from what I've known of him for the past couple years or so, he's a very selective collector. He collects exactly. He has in his mind exactly what he wants to collect, and that's what he buys. And I think most collectors are at least cyclical to a degree where
good word
they just buy all kinds of stuff, and then they're like, why am I doing this? And they'll sell off some stuff, and then they'll go to another arm of it or whatever they do, just like Mike's story. Well, I'm collecting Kiss, and I'm gonna sell it, and I'm gonna buy Maiden, and now I'm gonna sell Maiden, and I'm gonna buy Kiss, and you just explained that exactly. Joe's always been an anomaly to me because I can't make myself focus on those. Just this is what I like, and this is all I'm collecting, and I'm not, these new shiny pretty things, these new awards, and these new. That means nothing to me,
So, Mike, just to get back, when you sold your collection, you said that you had seen a post about Sonic Boom. Were you kind of disgusted that Kiss was selling 5 of the same vinyl with different colors? Because you weren't a collector. Were you like, hey man, this is stupid? Did that make you want to sell it? Your collection?
No, that didn't really make me want to sell it. And I got the theory behind it, the 4 different colors in the black vinyl. I understood. I've never knocked them for doing anything like that. Yeah, it just at the time it wasn't for me.
Okay.
And
did it feel like it was going to start becoming too much, and you were like, I'm stepping away before I get down the rabbit hole? Because that's what happened. That's what happened to me in the late '90s.
Maybe a little bit. I was sitting there thinking, so on future vinyl releases, is it all going to be red, blue, green, purple, and maybe a black vinyl? Yeah, I kind of stepped back, kind of like that Japanese box set. They had the black one, and then the red one came, and sure, I was like, all right, next will be blue, and then green, and then purple. Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I think that was everybody's assumption at the time was that would happen with that Japanese box set. So could you imagine if all of those existed? Oh my God, I couldn't even imagine.
I remember in 2006 when the Japanese reissue CDs came out. 2006? It had to be 2006 because when I saw Kiss in 2006, there were stacks of them being sold at all the venues in Japan. I mean, floor to ceiling stacks. I don't know if those were the SHM CDs. I don't know if I'm saying the name right, but
the SHM CDs. I think that would have been around that time, Andrew.
And they were all in replica mini LP cases.
Yeah. That's SHM. Yeah.
I've never seen that many CDs.
Right? Yeah.
I've worked in CD stores in my entire teenage years, CD, DVD stores. I have never seen that many CDs in one place at one time, ever.
It's pretty crazy. I didn't know that occurred.
Ever. And it was like, I was like, oh my God. It was to the point where like, am I going to buy these? And then I waited the whole tour because I saw the whole Japanese tour, and I was like, I didn't buy them. I ended up buying T-shirts and other stuff like that. But I wonder what would have happened if I would have bought them. At the time,
I have the whole SHM collection, all of the issues.
But you can't find them.
No, I know exactly where they are.
Okay. Okay, so
I have the box sets too. They're incredible.
I do like the double platinum one. I do like the double platinum.
Incredible.
So Mike, I'm curious. You have quite the vinyl collection. You've been collecting for probably a little less than 10 years now. Tell me something that you want to have in your collection that you haven't been able to find yet.
Oh, Man, I had an answer to this question last night, and it is completely gone.
Well, we can circle back around.
Yeah, it'll come back to you. Let's talk about the nature of your collecting real quick. So obviously, with the amount of vinyl that you have behind you, you're a vinyl guy. Do you do any other collectibles, or have you focused mostly on vinyl these days? Are you sort of like me in that way?
I'm mainly a vinyl guy. When the McFarlane figures first came out in 96, 97, I got a set of those, and then the Psycho Circus set. But
I think everybody on God's green earth got a set of the McFarlane figures.
Everybody thinks they're worth more than they actually are. They're not worth the paper that they're printed on.
Oh, that was completely my mindset back then. I'm going to keep a set of these sealed 20 years down the line. I've got a gold mine, and yeah,
$20.
I probably can't even get out of what I gave for.
You can't, man. You can't. So
I had a retail box that I sold not too long ago, sealed, and I think I might have gotten a little bit less money than what I paid for it back in the day. So,
yeah, I have a retail set sealed as well. Yeah.
I have 2 retail sealed boxes that were given to me because someone was moving, and they were like, "I don't want this anymore. I'm giving this to you." And then someone else gave me another set. I actually opened the set, and the damn figures broke when I took them out of the package. Literally, I lifted them out of the package. Arms were falling off. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah. Anyway, so
let's talk about your vinyl collection now. So,
Sure.
How do you go about collecting vinyl these days? Do you get on kicks? Do you have a certain title that you collect? Like me, I'm collecting Rock and Roll Over, Look It Up, Creatures of the Night. Are the big 3 for me that I'm trying to kind of get all of the copies that are out there, and then like the expensive stuff, the super rare LPs. That's kind of the way that I go about it. Do you have a mindset, or are you just like eBay? Oh, that looks cool, or I don't have that, or I haven't seen that, or how do you do it?
Good question.
Mainly, I just I grab anything from the U.S. that I don't have, and it started off right about the time that I first joined the group. God, November 2015 or something like that. I was just interested in first pressings, and I would watch the episodes just to make sure what I had was a first pressing. And then I started kind of thinking about getting some of those represses, especially that Filmworks 2 with the 501s on them.
There's another fuse that's lit, right? You're like, oh no, there's different labels, and there's different pressings, and there's CRC stickers and barcodes, and I can just see you like standing up and just running out to the record store to see what's out there.
Man, I avoided record club pressings like the plague.
Everybody did.
Yeah.
And even at Indy last year, I had never seen so many record club pressings in my life. Of course, I mean, Terre Haute just up the road, so it makes sense. And just flipping through all those boxes, everything's got a CRC sticker or it's printed on there. And I still avoided it. But there was a fuse that kind of got lit there at Indy. And I bought a lot last year, and it had 5 or 6 record club pressings in it. And I was just like, might as well.
You're off to the races. It's funny on eBay. A lot of times you'll see sellers even say no barcode as if it's a good thing. And in the KISS collecting community, you're like, we want the barcode because that stuff is rarer. Yes. And so there's a lot of times where I'm looking on eBay and I'll go right past that stuff. I'm looking for the barcodes. I'm looking for the CRC stickers or the different, the 501 markings and different things like the labels for the later pressings and things like that. So
I would like to think that Wax had a little bit to do with that because we spent a lot of time pointing out, hey, these are not as easy to find these days as you think they are. And
there was a certain record that we became aware of, that 83, 84 pressing. Do you remember the record where we came aware of that?
The Creatures
of the Night. It was Creatures of the Night that we came aware that there was a pressing in between the original pressings and then those 1985 polygram pressings.
Right.
So,
right there.
He's got it.
He's got it. I got it.
So,
I got it too.
So so Mike, I know you only collect U.S. Is that just specifically because it's way too much of a rabbit hole to go down, or I mean? because Andrew's kind of like that too. He only collects U.S. pressings and some Japanese, but mainly U.S. pressings. So
it's a pretty big rabbit hole, but anytime I get into collecting a band, I always wanted to collect from their country. Like all of my Maiden stuff was UK.
Got it.
And Kiss is American, so I just mainly stuck with US. Now, if there was a title that wasn't available in the US, the originals, Best of Solos, I went ahead and picked up a foreign pressing for that. But other than that, I think I've only got like 3, 4, 5 copies that aren't US out of all that.
It's interesting. Do you foresee a time where that yet becomes another fuse that gets lit, and you go to Indy one year and you're like, oh, this Japanese pressing is so nice. Look at the obi and the whole thing, and then you you fall down that staircase too, like the rest of us?
Right now, I'm going to say no.
What about Canadian pressings? Because I know the Canadian originals is awesome. I found that by accident at a used shop.
Yeah.
I actually have thought about trying to get all of the copies of the originals from Japan and Canada.
Oh, yeah, you're in trouble.
Because
you're in trouble.
That was one I just couldn't find the first time around, was the originals. And when I got back into collecting, that was one of the first albums I bought.
Well, luckily with the originals, it's not like all of the other makeup. Right? There's a a finite amount of countries that release them, finite amount of variation. So
I think I have 4 copies of the originals.
Yeah, something like that.
I've got 5 from the U.S.
From the US? Right. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
You got something, Joe?
No, I was just chiming in.
So let's talk about, I know you pulled out because you posted in Wax, why do I have all of these records set aside? So I assume that's because, pick me. I assume that's because you want to show some choice pieces from your collection. Is that correct?
Show us some stuff.
Yeah, I probably got out more than I could talk about. But
well, let's show and tell.
Wanted to make sure. Mainly, I got some of the more rarer and maybe high-end stuff out of my collection.
Sure.
Instead of just showing like a Plant 72 copy of Creatures that anybody can find.
Right. Well, show us some choice pieces.
We'll start off the old white label promo. I've got little sticker labels down here. I usually don't keep the records outside of the jacket anymore because I needed space in there. But just in case it was hard for me to show these on camera, I could flip them around and show the labels on these.
Right.
It's interesting that you keep the stickers at the bottom. Do you ever find it's difficult when you're flipping through your rack? Because I keep my stickers on the top because when I'm flipping through mine, it's easy to see it on the top.
It's not real hard for me to see it. My label up above here, I also kind of got a brief description of the label variation.
Okay.
I actually did these first, and then later on, when I needed to make room, I started doing the stickers down below.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, white label promo. I was real happy to get this one. Promos was something that I avoided like the plague for a long time, but that bug finally bit me.
Oh yeah, it's a tough one on a few of them.
And we've got the first press of it without Kissing Time. Yeah, this one doesn't have Kissing Time.
It looks like a really nice copy too.
That one actually was pretty good. I've had to upgrade a lot of records over time. That's still the first one that I bought. And yeah, it's real nice.
So, Mike, let me jump in real quick. Is that something you do then? If let's say you have a white label promo, but it's beat up, you'll go on eBay if one comes up, and then you'll flip the other one, and you're constantly upgrading, or do you keep them? I know Jason has a hard time letting them go, but how do you do that one?
With a white label promo, I don't know.
Just anything.
Yeah,
just any record. Are you looking
something else?
Yeah.
If my jacket's trashed on something and I find another one fairly cheap, I'll upgrade it. A promo, I'm not going to buy a $400 record to upgrade, but
interesting.
And talk about upgrades. I got a copy of the first album with the hype sticker over here. This one has Kissing Time on the label, and it's not on the vinyl. It starts off with Deuce. This jacket is crap. The only reason why I'm keeping it is because of that sticker right there.
What it is. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's split plumb back to here.
Oh wow.
Top and bottom, spine's all blowed out. But yeah, it's.
I just noticed your stickers at the bottom. They're the labels. That's really interesting. And
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier.
It's really, really cool. So I guess I did. There was a glare on the first one. I didn't see it, but those.
Oh no, that glare was the white sticker.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry. My eyesight is terrible. So when I saw a white sticker,
Andrew's going, "What are you showing?"
Yeah, I bumped into a column the other day, and I was like, "Excuse me, miss," and it was just a column.
And then got another one with the sticker, and this one has Kissing Time on the label and a vinyl. Going back to your question, what do I really want in my collection? The one without the thing on the label, but it actually has it on the record. That's the one I really want.
And that's tough to find, because if somebody doesn't know what they have on eBay, you got to count the track numbers, and you have to have a nice shot of the vinyl, and that's a tougher one to find for sure. Yep.
One little trick I've learned over the years on eBay looking for that. Save the picture if they got a full picture of the record. Save that picture, and I open it up in MS Paint and invert the colors, and it shows the negative to it, and you can see the rings better.
Yeah, I guess my point was it's you normally don't even see people take pictures of the vinyl.
Right.
So there's people are mostly shooting the labels, if you get lucky with the labels. So if that. So it's interesting. Cool. Good hint there.
And this one here is probably going to be buried with me. It's the Hotter Than Hell promo. I looked for this thing. This was one of the last ones. It's tough. And I had actually bought a copy of First Kiss Black Slicks from a seller. And Jason, you know him. He's down in Tennessee. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head.
Steve Allen?
No,
Gary Kahn.
No, he's in Knoxville, I believe. He's an eBay seller. I got into the chat when I bought this thing from him and asked about him.
You're talking about the Slayer Forever?
Slayer Forever. Yeah.
I do know that guy. I'm not going to say his name. I don't know him personally, but he's infamous in our collecting circle because he has some of the most amazing items, and he is very expensive, and he does not care if he sells it or not. He's going to get his price, and he'll never lower it. But Nicholas tipped me off to what his name was, and he doesn't participate in any of the groups, not just our groups, any groups. He's But anyway, he's a good set. He's got choice stuff for sure. So you got that from him?
I bought the First Kiss Last Licks from him. And I looked at his other stuff that he had. Man, he had a bunch of the coin stuff.
Oh yeah,
that's just some hard to find stuff. And I sent the guy a message. I was like, "You wouldn't happen to have a promo copy of Hotter Than Hell, do you?" And he's like, "Yeah, I just listed it." Yeah. All right.
That's great. That's one I'd love to have. That's a tough promo to find. That and Alive those are tough records to find.
Yeah, now I'm kicking myself for trading off that Alive promo.
I can't believe you did that, man. What are you thinking? The Alive promo is one of the hardest promos to find.
Know.
Yeah.
That's a tough one too. Well, really, that Hotter Than Hell, Dress to Kill, Alive, and even Destroyers, kind of hard to find.
They're tough. Yeah, they're tough.
No doubt.
I got lucky on Destroyer. I think I found that for $10 or something like that. Yeah, that was a pretty quick buy it now.
Yeah,
I'll go on record and say it as I have before. That never happens to me. I never stumble. I'm paying full price and some for all the stuff that I get. That just never happens to me.
I stumbled on my First Kiss without Kissing Time.
Yeah, just stumbled on it.
I think it was like $12.
It's just crazy now, man, because even when you're going, if you go to flea markets and find any vinyl, they everybody knows that vinyl is in now, and they're asking premium prices for everything, so it's just.
Yeah, I've been buying record collections lately, and you'll see if you go to, like, let's say a flea market, you'll see 50 cents for everything, Journey, Boston, all that 70s stuff, right? And then you get to the Kiss record.
$25 for Kiss.
Yeah, and it could be a run-of-the-mill, beat-up copy of Hotter Than Hell, and they'll have $35 on it. There was one guy selling a Rock and Roll Over with no sticker, no order form, none of the stuff, for like $39. It's like, what, so everybody knows that's one of the most collectible bands next to the Beatles, for sure.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
Continue on, sir.
Yeah, continue on, Mike.
I have about 25 copies of Alive. I pulled out just a couple, but I never really got into the hype stickers too much on Kiss albums. Like, I think I've got them for all the polygram years, but I found that white hype sticker. This was the one that got me into variants. I needed a few inner sleeves, and usually if I need the company inner sleeves, I'll buy a cheap copy of Alive because you get 2 of them, And I got this one in, and I was like, I'll go ahead and keep this jacket since it's got the sticker on it. And I looked at it was a different label variation from what I have, and I couldn't let either one of them go.
No, of course not.
That's the way it goes. Yeah,
I don't have that. That's a piece I need to get as well.
I have one of those.
Yeah,
and then last week or the week before, I finally was able to get a gold stickered copy.
Nice.
And
Cool.
Yeah.
This one, the ones that I've seen have had the sticker on the shrink. Somebody peeled this off and stuck it on the jacket. You could see where they got it lifted here.
Gotcha.
But like I said, I never was much of a hype sticker guy, but I think I paid like $5 for this or something like that. So
I'll be a hype sticker guy for $5 for sure.
Sure,
Oh, yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Let's see where I'm at now. I had mentioned that I have 5 copies of the originals.
Mm-hmm.
I went ahead and pulled them all out here.
All right.
My first one, we've got the white label promo.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Got a pretty decent jacket on this one. Boy, these things are just hard to find. Jason, you've got a better jacket than I've ever seen.
I am a lucky collector to have the originals white label promo that I have. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Came from that
I
lot
actually have
of
it housed in my.
That came from that lot, right? You had all those promos.
All that, that promotional lot that I got, is really, it was an unbelievable score, and I have that safely stored actually in a Casteria box. So it's, I flipped it in with that's the originals that I stuck in there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we've got the first issue of the stock copy, and I'll try to. My camera sucks, but I'll try to get this up here.
We can see it.
Yeah. And
that's got your camel label.
I believe that one's from the Keel Plan, if I remember right. Those you can find all day long.
Right.
It's difficult to find those complete and the jacket not completely trashed. I see so many trash jackets on originals.
Yeah.
So many.
It seems like the originals, Dress to Kill, and Double Platinum, and to an extent, Hotter Than Hell, you can always upgrade the jackets on them. I mean, there's always a jacket out there that's better.
Right.
My next originals, we've got you can't see it because of my labels here, but it's a second issue.
Yeah.
And it's a different camel label.
Oh.
It's got a different layout to it, and the first one has sides 1, 2, 3, and 4. This one is Roman numerals, I,
right,
so on. This one was pretty tough to find. I looked for it for about a year, maybe, and was finally able to grab one. And good God, I see these things all the time now.
That's how it happens.
That's how it goes.
That's always how it goes.
Yeah. And then got another second printing with a Filmworks label.
That's the one I have.
Right.
Yeah. There's 2 different Filmworks versions of it. Underneath where it says Record 1 NBLP 7032. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but in parentheses, it'll say on this one, like NBLP 701 AS, and then
Right.
they'll give the catalog numbers for Hotter Than Hell and Dress to Kill.
Huh.
The second one actually has NBLP 7032, the catalog number for the originals on all three records.
Interesting.
That's the only difference I can find. I mean, I've hit these things top to bottom, and that's just that one little batch of numbers is different.
And Lord knows you've put it under a microscope to find out what the differences are, right? So I can see you with the white gloves and the jacket, and you're looking at them side by side, and yeah, you're pretty amazing when it comes to that, for sure.
I don't need the microscope yet, but I mean, the eyes will go bad eventually. Of course, everybody's got to have an originals too.
Absolutely.
That was another one of the first ones that I got when I got back into collecting.
I paid $300 for that in 1993 or 4, and now you can get them for $225 all day long.
Yeah,
and mine wasn't complete when I bought it. So.
Yeah,
I think I was around 250 on this
right,
one.
Right. Yeah, that always makes.
You got the masks and everything in there.
Yeah, masks,
That's my
both
favorite.
booklets.
That's my favorite record.
And those translations though.
So funny.
Yeah, hilarious.
Yeah.
Got a couple of variations of the Rock and Roll Over promo.
You can just go ahead and send those all to me.
Yeah,
I don't beg often on the show, but I'll beg for those. I'll take those.
Yeah. I had to beg a buddy of mine for the last one. It was pretty hard for him to let it go, but the first variation, you've got the big logo and the title on top,
right,
and it says promotional copy not for sale on the left side. Second one, you've got the title on top and the smaller logo on bottom, and promotional copy on the right. And this third one was the one I had to beg for, and it's got a small logo on top and title, and it just says real small right here, not for sale. That one's easy to miss. Yeah, I had to charm a friend of mine out of that one pretty good.
I think I'm missing one of the promos if I remember back correctly. I've got so many Rock and Roll Overs back there I can't remember, but I think that's one of the U.S. pressings that I think that might be the only U.S. pressing that I'm missing is one of the Rock and Roll Over promotional copies.
That Rock and Roll Over promo, you don't see them very often, and some of the promos I have found for a real cheap price, there's always a promo that I find that makes up for that,
Right, right, sure.
I might find Destroyer for $10, but by God, I'm going to pay $400 for the debut white label.
Sure.
So it's a mix and match, and then I pulled out 3 Live 2 promos. They're label variations, but I didn't pull the records out. First one, I don't know how well you guys would be able to see them little labels, but it's got the
small
title and logo above.
We can see the title and logo above. We can see that.
And it's got a stamp on the back.
Oh, cool.
And then the second one, it's got the title above and the logo below. And this one has a different stamp to it. It's right there under Paul.
Right.
I see that.
Yep.
And I don't know how good it's.
We can see it.
Yeah, that's good.
It's a different verbiage. It's just a demonstration, not for sale. I seen them like on a lot of Columbia records. And then, the third one I brought out just to show that stamp almost didn't even make it on the jacket.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's got the double logo at the top. Live 2 promos were pretty hard to come by. And then while we're on the subject of a Live 2,
there it is.
Well, now what's special about that?
Shut up, Jason. You have 2 of those,
I don't. I traded one off.
No, he
I know
traded one off.
He traded one off after I had already attained mine, and I begged him the first 2 years of the show. I begged him for it.
Didn't have a Dynasty promo in-store promo triangle to trade me. It took something like that, impossible to find, to entice me to get rid of that. Impossible to find.
What would you trade me if I cleaned your room for you?
I don't know, man. I would compensate you handsomely.
All right, I'll be there tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
A meal and a bed.
A meal and a bed. I will give you the grand tour of New Johnsonville, Tennessee.
Isn't there like one traffic light in that whole town?
I was going to say, there's that stoplight. There's that stoplight.
There are no traffic lights.
No stoplights.
Wow.
Not a single one.
You guys might not know this, but I grew up just right across the road from Jason. Now, that road is Interstate 40. But when we were kids, probably about 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
Now they got Highway 50 going all the way out. It's probably about an hour drive now.
Right. So yeah, it's little here, guys.
Yeah.
You got
a stoplight at the end of my driveway.
Yeah, me too. Me too, pretty much.
That's funny, man. So, what else you got?
Another rare one. Got Creatures of the Night. Those that sticker might look a little strange on the bottom, but it's a Filmworks 3 label. It's different than the Filmworks 2 Creatures of the Night. It's got the polygram catalog number. That one popped up on an auction. I think the guy started it out at like $2 or something like that. Nobody had bid on it yet, and I threw him an offer of $65 for it, and he took it. So
I do stuff like that occasionally when they don't know what they have, but it always blows my mind that they don't go, why is this guy offering me $65 for a record I have no bids and no watchers on?
Yeah,
right.
You think that would automatically red flag to them,
Oh yeah. If this would have went full term in that auction, it would have done double that easily.
Right.
Yeah, that's what happens, right? Invariably, you see it for $2, and then you're sitting there waiting with the other, 72 Kiss fans for that label who are just wait, and then in the last second, it's like, $218.
Right. Always.
Over all the time. So yeah, it's interesting.
And yeah, that auction, it had the clearest pictures you can imagine.
Right.
You never see that one. I don't think I've ever seen one in person. It's a tough label.
I think I only know of 3, maybe 4.
Yeah.
I mean, not very common.
Yeah,
got the Kisteria set, about 2 years ago now. I didn't buy it when it first came, but, gotta love the Greatest Kiss. And I'm one of the lucky ones.
Look at you, man.
Good for you.
So in your Kisteria, that it had your Kisteria, the one you bought, it had that insert in it.
Well, what happened, and I'm not going to say the guy's name, but I emailed you and me. I was like, hey, I am missing an insert in my Greatest Kiss, I kind of made a dick move by doing it, just kind of griping a little bit. And 2 weeks went by, nothing. And the guy's like, hey, I found one. It's not in the best of shape, but I'll have this thing. And he sent it in a cardboard poster tube rolled up. God, it took me 2 weeks to get this thing flattened back out. And it's but I got an insert.
You got an insert sheet. To this day, I still do not know if I have an insert sheet, and I find it very difficult.
Open it up, man.
Open my copy of Greatest Kiss.
I do too. I've got two sealed copies, and I don't know if they have the insert either.
Yeah.
I've probably had 3 copies of this pass through my hands now. I had bought a copy of it. I think I bought this copy actually right after I first joined the group. Somebody had listed it for sale, and I went ahead and bought it. And then I bought the Kisteria set, and I sold off all the vinyl I already had out of it. And then the box. So all I have is the vinyl left. But
Got it.
I actually had cut about half of the seal on the one that was in the set so I could see if there was a sheet in it.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
So it, for people that may not know, that insert sheet was supposed to be included in all Greatest Kiss, and for some reason they didn't end up in there. And essentially what you have is, if you pop that record open and you do have an insert sheet, you've got a more valuable record than a sealed copy of it. So that's why we're making such a big, Mike's making such a big deal out of it, because, and this is for our viewers that, may or may not know, our casual.
Sure.
And didn't we have a story that somebody at the record company ate lunch on a bunch of them and threw a bunch of them away just because they were extras?
That's correct. So,
and you might have a more valuable record by about $75 to $100.
That's
easy.
That's $100 sheet right there, just like that lyric sheet that some of the original Elder copies got.
Yeah. Good luck finding that. Yeah.
Right.
Good luck finding that. You don't have that, do you?
No.
No, okay.
No.
All right. That's a tough one to find, man.
And my original collection that I sold off, I had that thing.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Had no idea that thing was rare back then. I remember it distinctly because I kept it inside the plastic inner sleeve.
Yeah,
and
I've never seen one in person. I've never seen an Elder lyric sheet. Everybody has a lyric inner sleeve, but I've never seen an Elder lyric sheet ever in person.
That inner sleeve's pretty hard to come by.
Yeah, I mean, but
I mean,
you can find them. Usually it's the plastic, clear plastic sleeve and all of that stuff. But you can definitely find them. But it's not that damn lyric sheet. That thing's crazy. What else you got?
I've got a set of records that drove me nuts for about 2 years trying to find. This is the Filmworks 2 series here.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
I mean, every day on eBay, I bet you I spent 4 or 5 hours a day. I just got a smartphone, had eBay on here. Any free minute I had, I was looking through trying to find them damn 501s.
Well, let's tell our viewers what the Filmworks 2, in case they don't know. That's
I'll go ahead and take this one out just to show. On the debut copy here, most of them will have a Filmworks inner sleeve, which for the debut copy that wouldn't look too weird because some of the Filmworks 1 labels had that.
That's correct. Yeah.
You'll have a polygram label. Oh,
there you go. Right there.
And you could see there at the bottom that it gives a polygram address instead of a Casablanca address.
Correct. Yep.
Most of them will have a plant number also. This plant 53 is right there at the right side of the bottom rim. And the big part of trying to find this, I'll probably have to flip my jacket upside down, is, of course, can you see it?
You can sort of see it.
Yeah.
Why don't you explain what's there?
Yeah, it's
just explain what's there.
Yeah, you've got most of them will be in the upper right-hand corner. It'll have a 501. There's a live that has a red 0704 at the bottom. Correct. For the Filmworks 2 series. That's why we don't call them 501s.
Right.
But boy, this series was a monster to get.
And they don't have barcodes on them.
No barcodes. Some of them can have a UPC sticker.
Correct. Yeah.
I think I've seen every album in the series except for the solo albums with a UPC sticker.
Right.
And double platinum won't have a 501 or any plant number on the back of it. It's just a regular shiny jacket.
And by no UPC, I mean it has no printed UPC on the jacket. The 85s, the Filmworks 3, that series has a printed barcode on the jacket. So, not that I'm telling you guys. So,
sometimes you can get lucky with double platinum and find one with the UPC sticker.
Right.
Mine has the UPC sticker on it.
Yeah, my original copy didn't, and I came across one on eBay that had one, and got it and traded it off.
Yeah.
Probably the hardest out of the set is the 4 solo albums, especially Peter Criss.
Always the toughest.
Ironically, this is the very first of the series that I got, the Peter Criss one. I bought a lot of records because it had an insert that I needed, and it just happened to be in there, and that was about when I started collecting this. And there's another batch of records that have a plant number on them. It's not a full series. Let me dig the rest of them out real quick.
Nice vault you have back there, I see.
Yeah. They was just giving them things away.
I heard they were, I've been told they were giving them away. So.
Andrew, you might not know, but last year at Indy, they raffled off a vault, and I had the winning ticket.
Yep.
No way. That's really cool.
He won his vault. I won my vault, and Tony Chambers won his vault this year at Indy.
Tony Chambers was sitting right next to me last year when I won mine.
He sure was.
So if you go to Indy next year, sit next to Tony.
That's right. Or surround yourself with me, Mike, and Tony. You might get really, really lucky. So.
Hey, we gave away a vault too.
That's right. Yeah. As you said before, what, Joe?
That never happens to me. I paid full price and then some probably to make up for the free ones that you guys got.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that, Joe.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Actually, when they raffled off the one that I won, they called somebody else's name first, and they couldn't get a hold of them. They tried. I mean, good God, they tried for like 10 minutes.
I remember.
To figure out who it was and call them and everything, and then they decided to scrap it, and then they picked my number.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations on that.
But we got a little batch of records so far that they have plant numbers on the jackets, but they have a regular Filmworks label. You'll not see this one at all, but there is a really faint 206 in that corner.
Yeah, we can see that.
It is impossible. Even looking at it from here, I can't hardly see it.
Right.
This jacket is trashed, but I've never found another one with the 206. That's why I still got it. And boy, that record's warped as hell.
Oh my God. Take what you can get, though.
Yeah, that rare stuff
rarities,
almost condition doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, it's like getting that LeMay to Kiss from down in South America.
Yeah.
You take what you can get.
Then this one's a pretty good copy of the debut, and in the bottom corner, where you at? It's got a 501 down there.
We can see. Yeah, we can see. Yeah. We can't make out it says 501, but we can see it.
Yeah, see something's there. Yeah.
With the Filmworks 3, it'll usually be up in the top right corner. And then there's a copy of Love Gun that's got it up in the top corner as well. Mm-hmm. And I'll zoom in on that label there. That's a Casablanca Filmworks label. And if you see, there's a plant number right there.
Right. What plant number?
It's actually got two 53s real close together.
Yeah,
I could send you guys pictures of these if you need. I've got this stuff
well documented.
Catalog documented, yeah.
And then Destroyer. There's also a Destroyer with a 501 up there, and usually on the Filmworks too, it'll have a black 0501 in the bottom here.
Got it.
But it's not really a series. just these 4 have been the only ones we could find so far.
Right.
Do you think that maybe those 4 were the only ones that were run up at that time because they needed to fill orders of those 4?
That's mainly what I think happened.
Yeah.
It was just a gap filler. It's kind of hard to put a time frame on them, except for maybe that Love Gun, since it's got a plant number on the label. That could be 79, 80, somewhere around there.
Gotcha.
But I don't think that they did the whole catalog.
It's interesting the ones
run.
that you found, though, because those are probably the ones that they needed to fill at that time.
Yeah. The demand was there, and they needed to print some. And
I don't have many record clubs. Well, I've only picked out 2 to show, but these are really kind of special. The first one is a RCA Destroyer, which that one's pretty trashed.
Not as trashed as Jason's from his childhood.
See, I definitely remember discussing this on the Wax episode. That is one I would absolutely love to find.
Yeah. This one, it was another auction that they just threw up for like $9 or something like that. Yeah, I hit it pretty quick. And then an RCA of the debut album.
Super cool.
With the Love Gun label also.
Yep.
So cool.
And even back when I wasn't doing record clubs, I was kind of interested to pick these up just because they was different. And then
I noticed, Mike, you've shown all of your records. You've shown the first album more frequently than any other ones. Is that your first? Is that your favorite record?
My favorite album is Alive 2. My favorite studio record, I'd say, is either Love Gun or Creatures of the Night. But first album's the first one in the rack, so that's usually where I pulled my examples from.
Right.
And then got a couple of solo albums to show off. Everybody knows that the labels have each member's face on them and all that.
Right.
Here's a copy of Jeans without his face on it. That's a Casablanca logo. It's got the Gene Simmons title up there at the top.
I had an Ace like that I traded off before I knew what it was.
And there's that Ace.
It might even be that one.
A lot of people are looking for this one.
Yeah.
There's a Peter Criss like that.
Cool.
I only know of me and one other guy that have this one, and there's a lot of people looking for it. I've never seen a Paul Stanley like this yet. It would
gotta be one.
There has to be one.
It would sure make sense.
Yeah.
But I've never come across one. And then there's a Love Gun without the band on the label.
You got one of those?
Got a couple of friends that have a copy with this label on one side and then the actual Love Gun label.
That's actually kind of cool.
That'd be cool to find.
That'd be cool.
Sure.
Yeah.
Certainly a cool anomaly.
Yeah. Usually I don't get into anomalies too much, but if I find one, I've got plenty of guys that are. So
sure.
Well, that's funny because Jason is really into Anomaly. I think he's got 15 copies of Anomaly just on vinyl.
Yeah. That's right.
I actually love the Anomaly album.
I do too, man.
Me too.
But...
Yeah, when Ace put that one out, boy, I was like, yeah, he is back.
Andrew just makes fun of me because I have like 15 different copies. Well, not 15 different copies. I have like 15 copies and of 5 different versions. So,
hey, Mike, why don't you pick maybe 3 more records that are in your stack there that you think are things that people would be interested in, or things that are either your holy grails or the rarer things that you have in your collection?
One set that I'm real proud of, and I'll just show it off as a set, is the promo samplers.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's 5 in that, right?
Yeah. You got the Destroyer, Rock and Roll Over, Taste of Platinum, the solo sampler, and First Kiss, Last Licks.
I'm missing Rock and Roll Over and Double Platinum. I have the other.
Those are
good luck on that Taste of Platinum.
They're expensive. Yeah, if you find one, they're expensive these days.
Even in terrible shape, they're expensive.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I rescued this one for about $40, and yeah, you could see a big gouge taken out there around the hole.
Someone was
That's not
hungry
a
and they
player.
just
That's right.
took a bite
That's
out of
right.
it.
One of my favorite sets that I have in my collection is those set of promos. I love them.
They're so cool.
Yeah.
They're so cool.
Yeah.
And then one more set is the set of the radio promos.
Oh,
shoot.
Very
And,
cool.
Yeah, with that
with
one
the smashes, thrashes, and hits with the
Yeah.
what is it, the
X and sex, yeah.
Yeah.
or X and sex?
Yeah.
What's it called? The
Oh,
mix.
you've got
Is it the
You've got the-
Sexapella mix or whatever it is?
you've got the excessive mix on side
Yeah.
one, and you've got the hot urban mix.
that
Oh.
hot urban mix. Fucking impossible to find. Tough to
Okay.
find.
You've got hot urban and sexapella
good reason.
on side two.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
God,
exactly,
dude.
for good reason. It's
Oh,
the worst
yeah.
song and has the most mixes that were
If
released.
you haven't heard these mixes, man, oh God, they're horrible.
It's terrible. It's you know what I think is funny is you had Kiss that put all this effort into breaking into more pop ground with Crazy Nights. They wanted to ride the coattails of the Bon Jovis and the Def Leppards. Then after that, they put out those two pieces of garbage, X and Sex and Rock Hard, worst Kiss songs of all time.
Oh,
Hands
that
down.
record-
disagree totally.
But Jason, you please, Kiss would put out anything. They could put out Paul Stanley reading a menu, and you buy that on vinyl.
There
and
is
think it was
no
the-
and in
way.
frames.
There's no way that those two songs are worse than Nothing Can Keep Me From You and I Finally Found My Way.
Okay, all right. I will agree with you there. I will 100%.
Yeah.
Those two songs
I
are
would
so
put
bad
them
that
all
I
in- I would
removed them
put
from
them
my
all in the
iTunes
same.
playlist. They're not even in my
What?
iTunes.
Yeah, those two songs are dumpster fires now.
Yeah. I would listen to X and Sex all day long before I finally found my way. All day long.
Well, yeah, kind of surprising, guys. We actually went through my whole box.
Hey,
Look at that.
good.
Look at that.
All
I
right, so-
didn't think we would.
I want to circle back around real
I was
quick
going
and
to do the
see.
same thing.
Go,
Yep.
circle back around, Joe.
I think Jason was headed down the path of. So now that you've had time to think about it, you've looked through your collection. What are the couple things that are sticking out to you these days that you're looking for? You had talked about, I was on eBay every day looking for some different labels. Is there anything out there that's kind of that you look
We
Eluding
said
you?
that first album where it has Kiss in Time on the label, but not pressed on the wax.
Yeah.
Right, that one and a copy of The Elder with the lyric sheet. Those have just gotten away from me. Also, there's at least two different variations of The Elder in the original run that actually have the intended track list
That's
on the
correct.
labels and the vinyl. And good luck finding them.
I have two copies, two different copies of The Elder. I don't know if I have that one, but I have two different track listings for certain. I'm positive I have that.
They're probably on the jacket. These are actually on the label.
I
Yeah,
gotta see what I
it's
have. I have to see
hard
what
to
I have.
find.
Yeah, it's got the same order as the '97 remaster, and it's on the vinyl that way too. They both start off with fanfare.
I'm gonna
But,
take a picture of that and then post it in the group for sure.
I want to say it's like a one from a Plant 26 and maybe a 53. I've got it all wrote down somewhere, but
Yeah.
I'd love to find those too. But
I'm
Yeah.
impressed as hell by your knowledge. I really am.
Yeah, we all are. It's
Yeah, man.
amazing watching you work in the groups and share your knowledge, and we appreciate your contributions for sure. It's awesome watching you go through this, like we've talked about forensically, and spindle holes and plant numbers and breaking down series. It's really cool. So
Yeah.
thank you for being an expert in the community for sure.
And you're a pretty nice guy.
I try to be.
To
Yeah,
boot. He's a
pretty
pretty
nice
nice guy to boot. So
Yeah.
All right. Well, anybody got any other questions for Mike? All right. Thanks for the dead silence. All
That's
right. So anyway, Mike, thanks for joining us, man. We really appreciate you showing all that killer stuff. You're welcome anytime.
Yeah, come
And-
back on when you think of more records that you want to talk about. Maybe on one of our Kiss My Wax remastered when we do a
Yeah.
live too. We'll have you on since that's your favorite live record.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, well, I mean, we definitely, would like to, when we do those, get the input of other people,
Yeah,
so
man. Yeah, man. You're always
absolutely.
welcome.
So, well, if that's it, nobody has anything else, thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next one.